My ancestors, and this story is really about my mother and her parents, but my ancestors came into the first, their name was Hufstetler, and Hufstetler was from Germany and England, of course, and Europe. But anyhow, they came in 1609. It's the first record that we have them being in the States, but he came as a cabin boy. And when I was trying to find my ancestor in the Revolutionary War, I thought, well, if they were here that long, they were going to fight. Well, we could never find anything. Well, he had been a cabin boy, and they had paid his British thing to come here. So they moved, and they came into Tennessee, and actually they come across the mountain rather than coming the rivers like other ancestors did. They came across the mountain from North Carolina into Tennessee. Well, all the farmland they were getting, the families got so big, they were big families, and so my grandparents decided and another family decided they'd go west. Now they have 6 children, husband and wife, and they're going to go west. They had some people already in Missouri. So they loaded the horse, put the cow on the back, and tied it on. The girls rode in the wagon some, slept in the wagon. The oldest girl and the boy slept with Grandpa under the wagon at night when they were going. But every time I cross the Mississippi River, I always think, how on earth would you take 6 kids, horse or wagon, a mule, whatever it was pulling the wagon, and a cow on a ferry to cross the Mississippi River? And they went into Missouri and got that far, and they stayed. He was a carpenter by trade, so he would earn his part as long as they had, if they needed money or trade money or whatever, they would trade for vegetables. They got as far as Chickasaw, Oklahoma, and it was wet and damp, and they had what they called a sod house, which was had some wood into it, and but it was sod on top of it, and they was calling it a sod house. Well, Grandma didn't like it. The kids was all sick because of the dampness, and the wind blew all the time, and she couldn't get their clothes clean and whatever. So they decided, well, they thought they'd go back to Missouri. Well, they got to Missouri, and somebody else coming west told Grandpa is sick, and he has need help. You need to go back. Well, in the meantime, a daughter had been born in Oklahoma to these 6. Now they have 7. They get back to Missouri and stay a while, and they got 2 more kids, and my mother's the youngest of those 9. So they said, Grandpa needs help back home, and you need to go. They got back home, and George Washington Hufstetler died there, and so they never did go back to Missouri. But anyhow, I keep thinking, here you have 6 kids going, 9 kids coming back, and they were raised. They named my mother Elizabeth Violet Hufstetler, and she didn't like it, so she just erased her name out of the Bible and put Bessie Violet. It finally become her legal name. When she got old enough to get her Social Security, they couldn't prove how old she was because they hadn't kept very good records in Missouri. Her older sister testified that she was there when she was born, you know. And they used her first grade, showed you, in Blount County she had gone to school, first grade there, and they used that to prove how old she was. And so she lived to be in her 80s. But I think her story was so interesting that she was born on the trail while they were migrating through. But my granddaddy, George Washington Hufstetler, that was in Blount County, when his obituary said that he had, at that time, when he died, that he had built half of the houses in Maryville, Tennessee. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mark Twain knew that there was never yet an uninteresting life. Such a thing's an impossibility. Inside the dullest exterior, there is a drama, a comedy, and a tragedy. Come share and preserve the stories of your life with us here at the Maples Family History Center. We're on the 3rd floor of the King Family Library in downtown Sevierville.